Very interesting. So I ended up getting this rubber insert out of this collar, I guess, that sits on top of here. And the rubber acts as a centering slider that goes on top of this post here. And inside was this screw facing backwards. So whoever had disassembled it before had taken the screw and just sort of loosely thrown it in with the screw facing backwards. But I think what's supposed to happen here is you take this rubber collar and you put it on there. And then this, I think there's a washer missing, because this screw fits perfectly in the screw hole. It's in the back of this brass thing here that you can see. You can see the screw hole in the back of that brass or bronze or whatever it is. And you just basically screw it into there. And I'll just get a nice washer that's that size so that that holds it in place. And then I suspect you use a little bit of adhesive to get this to sit inside so that it doesn't rotate. And I think the adhesive is probably worn off, and that's why this, when it's on top of that, it just spins and doesn't actually, the counterweight doesn't spins, and this spins around the rubber, and it doesn't actually bite in to allow this thing to move fore and aft. So I think it just needs a little bit of adhesive on the rubber, and once that's installed, it should work. So I'm going to go and find a washer of suitable size, and we'll see if that works. There, I think I found a washer of a suitable size, and when I measure it up against the back of this, it actually is the same size, so it should fit inside that collar pretty handily. And then we'll put the bolt through the washer and lock it in place. I can't do that without putting down the camera, so I'll do that off camera. That washer is a little bit too big because it's a little bit too large of a diameter to allow the collar to fit around it. So what I'm going to do is try and find a smaller one. And then I think what, instead of using adhesive, I think what you do is you screw it in and it compresses this rubber, which compresses it against the walls of this and then locks it into place. So I think that's the mechanism for actually retaining this this collar on top of that brass piece. So if you push in on this, it's going to compress, and then it's going to expand, and then it'll grip onto the inside of this and then prevent it from spinning. I think that's how it works. So that's what it ended up being. So now, if I take this off, you see that the outside collar there is not spinning anymore. So what I did was I found a smaller lock washer, and I put it on instead of the washer I had initially, which was just a hair too big to fit inside the tube here. So I put the little rubber I guess liner on top of the brass part. It keeps hunting for focus here with my hand there. There we go. And then I could only get it in so far, and then I used the screwdriver through here to screw it in, and then pushed it in before it started tightening it down, and then I was able to get it most of the way forward, and that snugs it up. And as I suspected, it compressed the rubber, which in turn filled the inner liner of this, and now that makes that sturdy, and it doesn't move side to side, and it doesn't rotate when I'm trying to spin the counterweight on. So now, as you can see, I can actually put the counterweight on once I get past that one nut, and see now when I'm turning it. Before, this was just spinning and it wasn't allowing me to turn the counterbalance, so I was unable to properly balance the arm. So now that that thing isn't spinning, I can actually get the counterweight to balance the arm. So yeah, pretty good fix. I think. So we've sorted out all of the 3 issues that I noted with this turntable. The auto return did work. I tested that off camera. I haven't done the 45 yet, but I will do that. And so the things that I corrected were, of course, the left channel was working incorrectly, and I ended up looking at the RCA jacks, and of course somebody had used high definition video cable as a phono cable, which is a no-no, way too thick for this purpose. So I substituted that out for a proper thickness RCA jack and low impedance cabling. And then the other issue was the broken counterweight bar. That's sort of the Achilles tendon of this turntable right now, because it's just basically another bar that's kind of semi-welded in place by crazy glue and baking soda, which is a very powerful adhesive. So as long as you don't knock on that bar, it should stick. So as you see, when I move the arm back and forth, that bar is lifting the anti-skate counterweight, which is exactly the way it's supposed to work. And then the other issue was the spinning counterweight, which wouldn't allow me to properly balance the arm. So now I've rectified all 3. I'm going to throw on the head shell and balance it out, hook it up to my SX950 receiver that I restored and completely rebuilt, and play it through my Mirage, Canadian Mirage 750 speakers over here. Now we'll see how it sounds. I bet it's going to sound really, really good. So let's have a listen. Once I get this all up, I got to put the platter and everything back on, and we'll do all of that. I'll do that off camera. Well, maybe I'll record part of doing the balancing. Back in a second. All right, there we go. I put the platter on, slip mounts are now on, put the 45 adapter on. I also gave it a really good buffing. It was like really dried out and everything, so I put a wood preservative on it to make the wood pop a little bit more and get rid of some of the lines and age marks that were on this, and it really came up, it really pops now. But anyway, so now I'm at the point where I want to adjust the balance of the arm. So normally what I do is I set the anti-skate to 0 so it doesn't have any pulling effect when I'm balancing out the arm. And I've put the head shell on. It's just a standard SME bayonet type mount. I've got the power off. I don't want this thing spinning up while I'm balancing. So yeah, I may have to actually power it up to get the Q lever down. So down. See, now I've powered it up. Now the Q lever has dropped. I'm going to power it off because I need the queuing mechanism to be down, otherwise I'm not going to get a proper read on the balance. So now I've turned the power off, and now it will depress below the actual platter surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial this back until I get it balanced. Gotta go considerably farther back, I guess. Oh, there we go. Getting there. A little high. Way too high still, so I gotta move it forward. You can't get it to 0 anti-skate because that weight's always on, but you can. I think that's close enough, basically. So we're going to set this to 0, and then we're going to dial in recommended cartridge tracking force is between, I believe, 0.75 and 1.5 on this Shure M91ED. It's an older cartridge, but it actually has a newer stylus on it, which has a higher tracking force. So I'm going to go to 1.5, higher rated tracking force. And then I'm going to go, the notches on this anti-skate start at 1. So the first notch is 1 gram of, for a 1 gram tracking force, and then the next notch is 1.5, and that's what I'm going to have it dialed in on. So what I'm going to do is just confirm my weight here using a weigh scale, and we'll get it, and it's 1.48. Pretty bang on. That's good enough for government work. So our tracking force is now balanced or set. We've set our anti-skate to 1.5, essentially 1.48. You can't, you don't got that kind of fine adjustment. So as long as it's ballpark, because the anti-skating actually changes, the forces change as you get towards the center of the record, as well as the amount of dynamics in the record will change the effect of anti-skating. So it's just a rough ballpark setting. So now we've got everything set up. I've taken the dust cover off just to get it out of the way. That will be the last thing to go on. I'm going to put on another little rubber stopper here to prevent the scratching of the turntable. But everything should be hooked up now, so we're going to do a sound check. So let's get a record, and we'll do that. All right, I've spun up the record. I'm in manual mode, and you can see here there's manual and auto. It doesn't mean it's fully automatic. It's actually a semi-automatic turntable. It's just an auto lift on completion. It doesn't even return the arm. So very bare basics, but so you have to manually move the arm over yourself. And so it's in manual mode, and so as soon as you turn the power on, it starts rotating. In auto mode, it doesn't. You actually have to drop it, and then because it'll ramp up to speed. It's, you know, it's not got as powerful of a motor as the Technics turntables, direct drives, but it spins up to speed pretty much when the cart gets to the record, maybe a little bit slower, but anyway, nevertheless, I prefer to use manual mode. In auto mode is when it does the auto lift. In manual mode it does not. So you can change that mid-flight. So it's just a peculiarity with this particular turntable. Okay, so we'll just drop the do a needle drop here. Down, so you see the cue mechanism is working correctly. We'll turn the volume up. So here we go. We got a nice demo song. As you can see, it sounds really, really good. Lots of bass. Really, really sounds terrific. Heavy for my liking. I would change the cart, but there is nothing wrong with how the turntable is now operating. The balance is working good. You can see the anti-skate I've got dialed in so it doesn't drift when you're lifting and lowering the cue lever. And as you can see, the turntable is beautiful. Sorry, I got a phone call and I had to end abruptly, and I'm just picking up where it was a quick call, so I'm almost at the end of the song. Anyway, record is sounding really good. That's really completion of everything I think that's needed to make this a fine sounding turntable in anybody's home. So Hope you enjoyed it. Hope we learned a few things from it. And I'm going to sit back and listen to this for a while because it sounds pretty marvelous. Cheers.